Now I'd like to work for a little bit with some of the selection tools that you would most likely want to use in creating a collage piece or pulling an item out of an image. So I've got the same document open that I was using previously. I'm going to go ahead and hide everything except for the bacteria layer. So I'm going to go down here. There are a number of ways that you can make selections in Photoshop. You can use the marquee tools to make rectangular selections or elliptical selections, and maybe this is something you want to use in your collage. You can also use the Lasso Tool. There's a magnetic lasso tool, polygon lasso tool, and just to illustrate the difference, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. And show you, right now if I try to draw with the lasso tool just using my mouse, it's really hard to stay on the lines. I'm not very good at that. The magnetic lasso tool tries to help you out by using an algorithm that finds edges. But you can see I'm trying to select around this, it's not really doing a very good job either. So depending on what you're trying to select, it does a better or worse job. This is something you could potentially play around with. What I find works best when I'm working is to use the pen tool. And that's located down here, and notice there are a lot of different, you can add points, delete points, the freeform pen tool. The standard pen tool is probably the most useful. And the way that works is you essentially click and you drag, and that gives you a handle. What this handle does is it creates an arc between points. So the direction of the handle describes this arc. So you can see what it's doing right now. Okay? I'm just going to undo, go back. So for me to select this shape, I would go in, dragging, and now I just make a click. Now I'm going to click and drag, and clicking. I'm going to click and drag, small, click and drag, click and drag, click, click and drag, click. So I would go around sort of painstakingly selecting my image in this way. And I'm just going to select a very small part of this to illustrate the point. And if you need help with any of this in class, just grab one of your instructors, and I'm sure they would be more than happy to help you. So let's say I'm happy with this. I just wanted to select this little section. I'm going to come down here, finish this up. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so notice now that I've created this, I can go to my paths palette, and you'll see that it's automatically created what's called a work path. I would want to name this also, so I'll call this bacteria 1, and I hit OK. So now this is a path that's not going to go away. If I don't rename that and I start making a new path, it'll actually write over the old one. So it's really important if you want to keep your path that you drew with the pen tool that you label it. Now if you'll notice this little menu, anytime you see this, this is more options for the tool that you're on. Okay, so I can click this down. And just off the screen here, there's something that says create work path. For me to be able to do that, I first need to select my path. So I'm going to use the tool here, the path selection tool. Click on my path. Now that I've selected this path, I can make a selection out of it. So make selection. It's going to ask me if I want a feather. That's making the edges softer. I'll probably give it a 1 pixel feather. And I always want to have it anti-aliased. That makes it a little less fuzzy. A little more fuzzy, not such a jagged edge. Hit OK. Now notice that converts my path into a selection, which I can now copy and paste on a completely new layer and use as I like. So maybe this is part of my collage. Maybe I'm going to place this in a different location and apply some effect to it, like screen Or maybe I'm going to make it transparent by sliding down the transparency on my layers palette and then screening it so that when I put it over something else, it's transparent. So this is the way you go about making selections in a very accurate way that will work in your collage.